So, hi Ankit.
Hey, hi, Bisu.
मैं सबको बोलना चाहता हूँ लाइक अंकित मेरा बहुत पुराना दोस्त है. लाइक इट्स बिन 10 years. 2014 से we were in same college and अभी कितना 10-12 साल हो गया. But started working closely with him जब से काउंसली चल रहा है. And he is one of the sorted लाइक डेवलपर में से, जैसे आर्किटेक्ट में हुआ कुछ भी चीजें हुआ बहुत सॉर्टेड है. सो ही हैज ए प्रोसेस लाइक कैसे चीज़ों को देखना है, कैसे कोई 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 बिजनेस का कोई भी प्रोसेस हुआ, हाउ डू यू हैंडल दैट. एंड उसके ऊपर में पूरा का पूरा प्रोसेस को करना, ही हैज़ वेरी वेरी सेट ऑफ स्किल्स के जिसके तरह वो बहुत अच्छे से कर पाता है. एंड टुडे दिस इज आवर फर्स्ट पॉडकास्ट और डिस्कशन यू कैन से. एंड आई एम वेरी
Yeah,
प्रिविलेज्ड कि अंकित पहला पॉडकास्ट में मेरे साथ है. सो how are you, Ankit?
yeah. First of all, thanks. Thanks, Badal. So we call him Badal, as you can know. So yeah. We have been friends for like quite some time, around 12 years now, and definitely. And yeah, it has been quite a good journey. Actually, जब हम लोग counseling start किए, after that also going through the process, going through the whole product, it has been quite a journey. And seeing Badal has already had a product before this, and seeing him as an entrepreneur, it is quite good to know something from him as well. As in, you keep learning. I'm definitely a technical person, and he is one of the person
Hmm.
who you can call as people manager, more or less. So to learn the people aspect as well from him. So yeah,
Yeah,
privilege is all mine as well to work in this
yeah,
project and work on this nice product that we have built.
yeah. So coming to the building of a product, I have some specific questions. So being a architect, being a developer, like the handling the backend stuff, not even only the backend, like to set it up so that everything the process becomes very easy. Whoever comes to develop the new people, if somebody is coming, he should not have that hurdle, right? So
Mhm.
you make sure that that is correct. So what is your thinking in that time? So how do you make sure a product is beautiful, the backend itself,
Yeah,
like the backend itself
right,
is beautiful? Yeah.
right. So, to be really clear, as in, I am more of a engineer or obsessed engineer, right? So we have we have an industry of obsessed engineers. So I'm one among them. So my philosophy is very simple. As in, I generally push for kind of excellence. I know I can't push for complete excellence because that will take too long. I try
Mm-hmm.
to push for a bit of excellence, and some parts that I have taken up, or some initiatives that I've taken up, generally follow things like containerization. So I always push a lot for containerization.
What is containerization, like for the
Yeah.
people who don't know?
So yeah, so containerization is like you are wrapping up the whole build cycle or build thing or the whole bundle of product into a single unit, and it's not uh, it's not something like we used to do earlier of monolith, where everything used to be in a single server and you can't replicate it.
Hmm.
So now what we do
Hmm.
is you develop a
Hmm.
product, and you develop
Hmm.
product in small silos, small parts of it. So if it is a very
Hmm.
big large website, you
Hmm.
develop parts of the website individually,
Hmm.
and you
Hmm.
individually bundle up that small things in containers. And we use
Hmm.
a technology Docker. Generally we use
Hmm.
Docker for containerizing all our
Hmm.
smaller application, which we call as microservices. And
Hmm.
these microservices individually, uh,
Hmm.
like when they come together, we bring up the whole product, right? So
Correct.
that is what our
Hmm.
whole product is.
Hmm.
There are multiple small parts, all microservices, all are in container, and these individual, like they all together complete our own full application. That helps
Got
us
it.
in multiple ways. So one major
Got
way
it.
is anyone coming in, they don't need to work on the whole product or don't need to know the whole product. They can just know
Hmm.
that small microservice, work on it, get a
Hmm.
feeling of it, and then
Hmm.
you start seeing the whole product as a whole. But yeah, you
Got it.
have small silos to work, small code to look at, and small
Mm-hmm.
things to optimize,
Got
right?
it. So this is like a, you can say, uh, like, to when do you want to do this? Like, are the when you are setting up the project, that time you
Mhm.
want to do this, so that people, the next generation of people who are going to code, the,
Mhm.
like, at which point of time you are going to do, like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so we generally like to do this as in as early as possible. Probably why we want to do it as early as possible is um, the whole thing gives a good prototyping to your application. So
Got it.
um, it does, like, you don't you if you are developing a startup, or if you are developing a product in a startup company, or be it a large company, you always want
Mm-hmm.
to have prototypes as out as early as possible. So
Got it.
microservices is a good way where you can actually prototype one thing and
Mm-hmm.
mock some other things. So you might have
Got it.
one microservice up, other microservice is not up. You can just
Hmm.
mock the whole behavior and only develop on that
Ah,
one microservice, right? So that helps in
understood.
developing this, and
Hmm.
getting this whole base framework as early in will help you
Hmm.
to develop new microservices, because that is
Hmm.
like it's not incremental thing. You do that
Hmm.
80% of the work at the start, and then
Hmm.
every adding every new microservice just takes around 5 to 10% of effort to add new microservices. So that
Got
is
it.
what
Got it.
we had tried. We got all the things sorted up 80% in the beginning, and then we keep
Got it.
using new microservices, that 10% effort.
Got it. Got it. So one more question that I have, like, when you are like developing, right, writing
Mhm.
codes, so you
Mhm.
make sure that the code is beautiful, like in your words. So
Yeah,
how what is your perception of a beautiful
yeah.
code?
So I am like I'm a great fan of Martin Fowler and as well as Robert C. Martin. So these are two very well-known people in the world of coding or
Okay.
engineering,
Mm-hmm.
software engineering. So they have like Robert C. Martin has written a very good book, and we call
Mm-hmm.
him Uncle Bob. So there's a book called Clean Code. The whole
Mm-hmm.
thing of the whole book is written just on how do you write a good code. It has nothing to
Got
do
it.
with the technology or anything like that. It's just that
Mm-hmm.
how do you name a function? How do you write good variable names? How do you
Mm-hmm.
distinguish? Like basically, your code should be written in a way where it is easy to read, and
Mm-hmm.
it should read like a story. You don't need to write comments everywhere. Your
Got it.
method name should be such that you can understand what this method does. So more or like
Understood.
that, as in that is what my philosophy is to a clean code, where
Yeah.
you can read it like a book from end to end, and even if you're not a developer, you should be able to understand what this method is doing.
Method
so,
is
so
doing.
that yeah, so that is what my philosophy is. That is what I call as beautiful code. And one important thing is every code needs to have a test case. So I am I push a lot to have my test cases written first, and then the code, and then
Okay.
retested it. So basically that
Got it.
redesign, and a
Mm-hmm.
coverage should be a lot, because we have seen that as product grow, so once you
Mm-hmm.
start refactoring, so maybe 1 year down the line, and if
Mm-hmm.
you are a startup, definitely as a startup as well, if you're 1 year down the line, you don't know what your product may look like. So you may start
Correct.
up with one product, and 1 year down the line, you understand maybe this is not the best product, or this is not the best line of action for
Mm-hmm.
us, and we want to
Mm-hmm.
pivot. So
Got
once
it.
you start pivoting, you don't want to write
Mm-hmm.
the whole code from scratch. You probably want to reuse your code. And once you
Correct.
start
Mm-hmm.
reusing your code, you want
Mm-hmm.
to write a lot of code quickly. And at that time, tests help a lot, because whatever you change, if it is
Mm-hmm.
not breaking existing code, it means you're
Mm-hmm.
making changes in a productive way. So that way
Correct.
you can keep changing faster. So that is
Got
why
it.
I
मतलब
prefer a lot
मतलब
of.
make sure, मतलब make sure कि you write lot of like proper test cases, so that बाद में कभी भी कोड फटा, कुछ भी नया
Hmm.
आया and कोड फटे नहीं, you know कि अच्छा अगर फट रहा है तो test cases fail हो रहा है and your
Huh.
coverage is not 100%, less percent, then you know
Yeah,
कि मेरे को
so
कहाँ पे
it's
करना
more
है.
like आपने टेस्ट लिखा है, and the test says something. The test says do A and then B and then C. Now you're
हम्म.
pivoting and you want to make the code work in a way where it does A goes out
Hmm.
to D, fetches
Hmm.
something from D, and then
Hmm.
continues with E and F. So
Hmm.
you just change your test case and
Hmm.
then run it. And if it is passing, obviously it won't pass because you've not written the code for it. So you
Hmm.
start with changing the test case and then write a code which makes this test case pass. That is what
Got
you
it.
refactor a lot. So that makes a lot of
Got it.
sense for me.
Got it. So coming to the code, I know like being a computer science engineer, so we are being coding like since 2010, right? Since 10 years,
Yeah.
including the engineering days. You must have come across like many languages, right? We have
Mhm.
starting with C, C++, then moving to Java and other things, right?
Mhm.
What is what for you? What is your what was your best language like to I know that you are a Java developer, but what is your
Yeah.
in terms of, yeah? So what is your thing
So I think,
for you?
as in, to be clear, as in, I don't preach any language, or I don't see any language to be superior or inferior. So I had tried different languages. So I tried Python, I tried Kotlin, probably same as Java. I tried
Mm-hmm.
C, C++, .NET. These are like
Mm-hmm.
major languages that we have. And
Mm-hmm.
what I have seen is each language has its own pros and cons. So some language is very
Correct.
good at reading very easily and working, getting up very fast, but it is a bit
Hmm.
harder to scale out. It's like,
Hmm.
especially Python. So Python is very good language to write scripts because you can write
Correct.
very small code and but very powerful codes. But
Yeah.
you
Correct.
don't want to build your whole backend system on Python. Uh, like you can build, definitely you can build.
Hmm.
I have come across seldom projects where backend is written in Python. Maybe it is not very good at enterprise level code,
Hmm.
but it is very good at scripting and doing very fast, very quick tasks like MLs,
Hmm. Yeah.
machine
Data
learning,
science. Yeah.
data
Yeah.
science, and all those things. And
Hmm.
similar to that, you have C, which is very good at hardware level changes. So if you
Changes.
want to write any programming for hardwares or any
Hmm.
embedded systems or IoT
Hmm.
platforms, so you'll prefer
Got it.
to have C or C++ because they have a very high degree of compatibility with hardware and
Got it.
actual hardwares and all. And if you
Hmm.
have something like Java or Scala or Kotlin or .NET, these are like very high level language which are very easy to read. They have
Hmm.
very powerful frameworks built for them,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that is what you do a lot. And
But
yeah,
if you want to pick just for like
yeah.
मेरे को बस इस पे ही करना है. If you have one language to choose to write everything like तुम्हारा life long.
Probably I will pick Kotlin. Um, Reason
Okay.
are good, as in it is very good language for backend. It has all the features of Java, and it is quite good. Like, as in a whole Android is built on Kotlin. You can write a
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
good Android application on Kotlin. So you have the benefit of writing Android application as well as backend in Kotlin. So
Got it. Got it. So it's been like 7, 8 years of experience, right? You have,
mhm.
and you are probably like have places around also. Like you have worked all over the, like you have been to Africa, I think.
Yeah.
Then in India also you have worked in many places. You have worked in like service based companies and also product based companies, right? So what do you see like difference, or where do you see like much more the work is much more challenging or anything?
So if you are working for a service company, you definitely have a lot of benefits. So benefits
Hmm.
include, like, you can get on site quite easily in a service company. Also, if you want to travel, then that's a very good opportunity. You can also
Hmm.
switch projects very easily. So if you're a service company, you will be part of a very large organization generally, and you can switch
Hmm.
from one project to another if you don't feel comfortable. And
Hmm.
if you want to learn new technologies, I believe service company is a better company. So with my
समझा.
past experiences, I worked for few service companies, and
Hmm.
a service company has a wider range of products and wider range of languages with them. So assuming you are like working for
Yeah.
something like Infosys, so Infosys has
Hmm.
projects on Python, Java, Grail, Ruby on Rails. They will have project on
Hmm.
Android. They will have projects on C Sharp. They'll have project on Apple.
So you
Everything.
can basically switch to different if
Yeah. So
you are
it's
not
all depend
satisfied with
upon,
one
yeah.
thing.
it mostly depends upon if you want to push for, or like if you want to learn Apple development or iOS development, you can push a lot, like push a bit, that I want to work on this project, and
One.
probably you will be switched to that. So that is a bit
Correct.
easier, and let's say it's a bit less risky compared to a product company. If you move to a
Hmm.
product company, you'll have more or less a small set of tech stack, and you need to work on that tech stack. You need to learn that tech stack.
Yeah. Got it. Got it.
So you have a
Samjha.
deeper knowledge in a product company, but
Hmm.
lesser tech stack to work with. So both has their own benefits and cons, pros and cons.
So what is your thing? Like, do you like to read books or listen to a podcast? Like, what is your way of learning a new thing? Like, not necessarily it's coding or anything. In general, a topic.
And
Hmm.
if it is a new language or something that I'm trying, I will
Hmm.
prefer to have at least 2 or 3 courses, video courses on this, and
Hmm.
over time you learn different things from the courses. This is my way of learning technical things. So hands-on and video courses, and
Hmm.
with the current age and time, you need to learn a lot of non-technical things. As in, that
Yeah.
is my
Correct.
firm belief. If you're an architect, you're like 40% or even 30% is technical, and like
Hmm.
70% is your non-technical skills that matter, and that is the
Yeah.
most important thing. So be it like
Hmm.
how do you deal with people, how do you talk with people, or how do you
Hmm.
manage like unknown scenarios, how do you deal with
Hmm.
complexities and all. So those are the things
Hmm.
that you actually want to learn. So what I do is I go for an audiobook most of the time because it is a bit cheaper, and I have an
Hmm.
Audible subscription. So I go
Hmm.
for Audible subscription. I try to read a book or just listen to a book. It is
Hmm.
faster in a way
Hmm.
that you can do it anytime, be it
अभी 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 तुम्हारा प्लेलिस्ट क्या, मतलब सबसे क्या चल रहा है ongoing that you are learning?
so I have a book like this. I have Make Time by,
Make time by,
yeah,
yeah, how to do.
John Knapp.
Got
Okay,
it.
so
Hmm.
this is a very nice book, and this book teaches me how to take out time for the things that you want to do. Right. Some days back, I was reading uh, uh, Hitchhiker's Guide to Galaxy. So that's a whole series of non-fiction novels, or some sci-fi
Ah.
novels, or even
Mm-hmm.
some good novels which you can just read about, and you don't need to have a very focused time for it. So what I do is,
Okay.
these things I do when I'm doing things like exercising, or I'm running, going for a run, or cycling, or anything like that.
Hmm.
I generally prefer these type of books when I am not very engaged. So with
Got it.
currently work from home thing, you need to do a lot of home course.
Hmm.
So you need to just go out for groceries, or do some other
Hmm.
tasks in the house. So at that time, I
Hmm.
just listen to these books, or when I go for some out walk and all. So I'll listen to these books, and
Okay, tell
these
me.
are the two.
Okay, tell me, like, just to everyone, like in general, if you
Mm-hmm.
want to, तुम्हारा पर्सनल दो फेवरेट ऑडियो बुक्स क्या है? मतलब ऑडियो बुक्स यू कैन रिकमेंड, लाइक कोई भी बंदे का है, जैसे आई लिसन टू मास्टर ऑफ स्केल रीड हॉफमैन का, आई
Mm-hmm.
ऑलवेज सजेस्ट कि तुम उसको सुनो, या फिर जैसे नवाल रविकांत हुआ, उसको भी
Uh-huh.
सुनो. तो व्हाट इज योर,
Okay.
लाइक हुम डू यू लिसन, लाइक अगर तुम स्पॉटिफाई में सुनते हो या फिर कहीं पे भी सुनते हो, कि
Uh-huh.
ये दोनों इट एक्चुअली लाइक मेरे सोचने का तरीका चेंज करता है, यू शुड लिसन, लाइक एनीवन शुड लिसन दैट. सो व्हाट इज योर टू थिंग्स दैट यू वुड सजेस्ट?
I currently have two podcasts on my Spotify. So one of them is Gita for the Young and Restless. So this is like one of the best podcasts, which has 2 episodes weekly, and
हम्म.
this is basically like a small summary of a chapter from Gita,
हम्म.
relating to people, for young people like us, people from
हम्म.
21 to 30, or 21 to 35 age, or people
हम्म.
who are struggling. So this will talk about relationship, or
हम्म.
finances, or your daily
हम्म.
obligations, or
हम्म.
stress, meditation, everything, but just a
गॉट
10-minute summary for it. So I like it a lot, and that makes a
इट.
lot of good sense for me. And other one is Fin Shots. So I generally listen to Fin Shot daily. So that's
Hmm.
like a 5-minute podcast daily on some random, not exactly
Hmm.
random, but some economic topics. And that
Got it.
makes like a lot of sense if you are going with current scenario of India, or what is happening in India, or
Hmm.
what you
Hmm.
want to
Hmm.
invest in. So these things,
Hmm.
like these are the two that I feel are very small, very doable,
Hmm.
and
Got it.
makes a lot of sense for anyone in our age group. So yeah.
Got it. Got it. Being a developer, obviously you are working in your company, then अभी इधर स्टार्टअप पे भी अपना काउंसिलिंग में भी काम
Mhm.
मतलब करना होता है. हाउ डू यू मेक श्योर कि लाइक एक होता है ना कि माइंड पूरा बहुत सारी चीजें चलते रहता है कभी कभी, लाइक ये करूँ वो
Mhm.
करूँ वो करूँ. तुम्हारा गेट अवे टाइप का क्या होता है? डू यू लाइक मेडिटेट करो, या फिर तुम्हारा जैसे साइकिलिंग करते हो राइट, या फिर तुम्हारा
Mhm.
साइकिलिंग एक तुम्हारा एक एग्जॉस्ट रहता है सबका राइट, कुछ तो एक
Mhm.
रहना चाहिए कि जो तुम शट डाउन करो कोड और ये सब
Mhm.
वेरिएबल डिक्लेरेशन से एटलीस्ट एंड यू गो आउट एंड यू डू समथिंग एल्स. सो व्हाट इज
Right.
योर थिंग, लाइक डू यू प्रेफर कि मैं घर पे बैठ के एक्सरसाइज कर लूँ या फिर मेडिटेट कर लूँ?
So this work from home has some pros for me at least. So being
हम्म.
back to my hometown and being like all my friends who are working in different IT companies, all of them are back to their hometown, which is my hometown as well. So that
हम्म.
makes a lot of sense that everyone is having almost similar problems for us, as in
हम्म.
everyone is working a lot, everyone is stressed a lot. So
हम्म.
we make sure that we reach out and we connect on a regular basis with each other.
हम्म. बट मैंने तुमको मोस्टली देखा है कि तुम साइकिलिंग करते हो और फोटो डालते हो कि मैंने 50 किलोमीटर चला लिया, 60 किलोमीटर चला लिया, आज तो पे पूरा इंडिया घूम लूंगा. सो
So
सो
that has
हाउ डज दैट कम अप, लाइक कहाँ से वो
uh,
शुरू कब हुआ साइकिलिंग करना है?
so what happened is when I moved back to India from South Africa, like in back in 2018, then I
हम्म.
joined a company which was like 8 kilometers from my home, and which was on a route which was not having any ply or which was not having any public transport. So at
ओ
that time,
अच्छा.
I had to make a choice, either get a bike or a car, or do use
गेट
some
ए
public
साइकिल.
transport. Yeah, public transport. So I actually
हम्म.
opted to try public transport for a few days. It did not work out for me, and then I thought, okay, I will get a bike or a scooty in Pune.
हम्म.
So that time when I was discussing with my TL at that time in office,
हम्म.
luckily for what happened is he told me you
हम्म.
can it's quite near, as in 8 kilometers is something which is doable, and for him it
हम्म.
was very near, which was a bit
हम्म.
surprising for me. So he told it is quite near, you can actually cycle to office, and I thought, oh, nobody cycles to office, as in I have never seen anyone cycle to office in IT, as in,
हाँ.
so that is very weird. So he told, no, no, oh, there are people who cycle, you have not seen them, and I told, who? So he told, I do. And so he told, I have not, I have seen you come with bike. So he told, I have some fracture in my legs recently, so I
हम्म.
was not doing it, but I was actually
हम्म.
planning to start. So if you prefer, I can start cycling with you, and we can come
हम्म.
together to office. And
गॉट
that was
इट.
the time I decided, okay, fine, I will get a cycle. So I got a cycle
हम्म.
next day, and that was the start of my day. As in, that was when I got a
हम्म.
cycle and I started commuting to office to and fro
हम्म.
every day with cycle. And
हम्म.
with cycling, you have a very good relationship. As in, once you start cycling, it is really hard to give up cycling if you are actually dedicated cyclist.
हाँ
So
वही,
that
वैसा
is
तो
a
ये तो मत बोलना कि हम लोग स्कूल पे भी भाई हम लोग भी करते थे साइकिलिंग राइड, तो फिर तो छूट गया ना.
so that is
बट यू
what
केप्ट
you
इट अगेन, कम
so
बैक
that
एंड
so
डू
then you
साइकिलिंग.
start cycling, and you see the lot of benefits, as in even on weekends you'll meet
हम्म.
people who have seen you cycling, and they'll reach out to you that we are doing something on a weekend, do you want to join?
हम्म.
And once you join,
मतलब ऐसे
then you
तुम,
get part of it.
मतलब तुम्हारा एक गैंग बन जाएगा पूरा कि अभी साइकिलिंग वाले पूरा ही लोग, जैसे अपना
uh,
बाइकर क्लब होता है, तुम लोग का साइकिल साइकिल साइकिल
huh.
वाला क्लब है.
And
एज इन दे
actually
गो
most of
गो अराउंड.
most of the metro cities, be it Hyderabad or Bangalore or Pune,
हम्म.
these have a very healthy and very active cycling culture.
या.
So
हम्म.
it's not very hard to find cyclists there, and once you get
करेक्ट.
into it, you'll be part of a very good healthy circle. So that
या.
keeps motivating you.
गॉट इट, गॉट इट. चार पांच टॉपिक पे हम लोग वी ऑलरेडी टॉक,
Hmm.
and I have so many things to talk, but obviously everything we
Yeah.
can't put in everywhere. But we'll definitely uh, try to do one more session and
Yeah.
we'll talk something else. इधर उधर की चीजें, लाइक व्हाट आर द टेक्नोलॉजिकल, किस चीज पे तुम अभी ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट हो, क्योंकि बहुत सारी चीजें लाइक
Mhm.
बीइंग ए डेवलपर ऑल्सो अपने को आगे देखना पड़ता है, तुम जिस नए नए टेक्नोलॉजीज आए, क्या तुमको इंटरेस्ट है, कैसे कैसे तुम्हारे थॉट्स, वो सब कुछ जानना है.
So we have started this Counsily with some motive, right? So we have a
या.
very good motive that we will teach everyone, or we want to counsel everyone on what we know, and we
Correct.
want others to help someone else who,
Correct.
who are good at something, and they want to help others in the same topic.
Hmm.
So that
Hmm.
that leads to the same thing, is in I'm good at few things because I've invested some time in it, and obviously
Hmm.
like you are good at a lot of other things because you have
Yeah.
invested time in that. So why not
Correct.
crunch it down, or why not summarize it down for other people, so that they
Yeah.
can ideally start with it, or at least reach out to you if they want to go further in it. So that
Got
is
it. Yeah.
one of the main things. So even I want to learn, how have you gone about web designing, or how have you gone about
Yeah.
advertising, and what are
Yeah.
the things, what are the challenges when you start getting up, setting up a company, how do you go about
Yeah.
all those things. As in, these are all the things that a lot of people want to know, but obviously there
Yeah.
is no one else to help out, or no one else to motivate. So either they give
Yeah.
up, or they do it the wrong way, and then they figure it out like you have done.
Yeah.
So you have made
Yeah. Correct.
mistakes, and then you have figured it out. So if
Correct.
it
So
can be
everyone,
helped, then
everyone,
yeah.
for us, like everyone makes mistakes, and they research many hours of time. So that's why I
Mm,
made Counsely also. Like you can raise
yeah,
your question there. Like then somebody like me, Ankit, somebody. There are many people whom we are onboarding, and they can help your questions. So do raise your questions, and we will
yeah.
see you in the next one.